And just a day after music mogul Sean Diddy Combs was accused of sexual assault and years of abuse in a new lawsuit filed by R&B singer Cassie, word of a settlement overnight. ABC's Morgan Norwood is here with the update. Good morning, Morgan.
Hey, good morning to you, Ariel. Though Cassie and Diddy did not detail the terms of that agreement, the settlement quickly shuts down the potential for a trial and the process of legal discovery. That's when evidence in the case is often made public.
I thought I told you that we won't stop. I thought I told you that we won't stop.
Overnight, hip-hop mogul Sean Combs settling a bombshell sexual abuse lawsuit filed by his ex-girlfriend, fellow singer Cassie. Cassandra Ventura writing in a statement, "I have decided to resolve this matter amicably on terms that I have some level of control. I want to thank my family, fans, and lawyers for their unwavering support." Combs, known as Diddy or Puff Daddy, adding in his own statement, "I wish Cassie and her family all the best. Love."
We going up, we going live. Can't stop, won't stop, told y'all.
The settlement just one day after Ventura accused the singer of rape, domestic violence, and sex trafficking, citing controlling behavior that she says lasted over a decade while she was signed to Diddy's record label and the two were in a romantic relationship. In the lawsuit filed Thursday, Ventura alleged that after the two met back in 2005, Combs lured Miss Ventura into an ostentatious, fast-paced, and drug-fueled lifestyle and into a romantic relationship with him, and that he used illegal substances and threats of violence to force Miss Ventura into repeated unwanted sexual encounters with male sex workers. Combs denying the allegations, his attorneys describing them in a statement as riddled with baseless and outrageous lies, aiming to tarnish Mr. Combs' reputation.
And right after this lawsuit was filed, several artists and entertainers have voiced their support for Cassie. Ventura's attorney saying in a statement Friday, "I am very proud of Miss Ventura for having the strength to do so, to go public with her lawsuit. She ought to be commended for doing so." Gio?
All right, Morgan, thank you.
Well, hey there, GMA fans. Robin Roberts here. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Lots of great stuff here. So go.
Whoever you are, wherever you are, hope you are blessed and doing safe. Ladies and gentlemen, greetings, family. Of course, I'm tuning in. You see me without the glasses off today. But if you're looking for some opportunities, particular advertisement opportunities, then look no further at the link at the bottom to my email address. You can hit me up for advertisement opportunities. We are supporting and promoting your businesses here on this channel. You can also, if you would like to donate and subscribe to our Patreon, a link is at the bottom as well. So you have multiple ways in which you can advertise with the platform by emailing me when we go on do our live stream. You also have access to premium content, those that want to see premium content that you will not find here on YouTube or Facebook or Twitter, as I am suspended probably by now. You guys can check out the Patreon at link at the bottom. But advertisement opportunities, definitely email me, gavin.grich1@gmail.com for rates. And for the Patreon, it is the same as the YouTube channel. It is channel gboot2786. All right, I'll holla. Peace. What's up, family? Welcome, welcome, welcome to another exciting edition of Random Topic Sundays. I'm back. Oh, I had not been feeling good all of this week, fam. I was out with the woo-woo. Really from, I want to say Sunday. Well, Monday I went into work, but when I came back on Monday evening, I just was feeling the blues bad. And by Tuesday, I was having aches and pain and walking. And I had that woo woo. So y'all just make sure you take care of yourselves, man. A lot of stuff has been going around. A lot of people been getting sick uh, lately. So I had to take a break away from you guys. Obviously, I didn't look my best, so I wasn't gonna come on the live stream, but I'm back now. It's good to be back with you all. I don't, of course, I don't beg, but if you would like to support this channel, as you know, we are on a shadow ban. YouTube has not monetized this channel. Please drop something in the Cash App, the PayPal, or Zelle. If you like my time, then pay me for my time, is what I say. So we got a lot we're going to talk about. I'm going to try and do as much as I can within 30 to 40 minutes. Well, I'm going to say at least 35 minutes because I actually have to be out and do a show later tonight at 8:30, and I got to be there by 7-ish, 7:30-ish. It's the Hell Yes Fest at Comedy House NOLA. Tonight is one of the last nights, so I'm doing a show for 8:30. So if you are in town in the New Orleans area, come on out. I'm going to be performing at the 8:30 show tonight, so that's going to be fun. And that's a lot is going on in New Orleans, especially with that. Yesterday we were supposed to have a show. I don't know what it is with us, especially as a people, but we did not have. I didn't have anybody buy any pre-sale tickets for our Laughs Giving yesterday, so I ended up canceling the show and moving it probably to another date. I know this week is the holiday, so a lot of people are probably worried about going home and trying to save. And we tight. Let's just call it like it is, man. We tight when it comes to money and spending stuff, especially if you've seen things. Man, I ain't gonna see that. I seen his stuff already. So a lot of and comedy is one of those things. It's very hard. I think especially uh, the area where I'm in, I do it in New Orleans East, which area is not a bad area in particular, but there's a negative connotation with the East regarding crime. And some of it is based in reality, but a part of it is also based in fiction. And I don't think television, of course, media and television, music in particular, doesn't help. Our politicians don't help either when they actually lack accountability and don't do anything and advocate. So, uh, we actually try. I really wanted to do the show yesterday, and plus I was just coming off of being sick, which was tough. But it is what it is. We'll try and do another one if we can. We'll be back. But I didn't want to lose. I was going to lose a lot of money, and let's just put it that way if I had done it. But I'm trying to get. It's so hard being a promoter. It's one of the hardest things to do in stand up is getting people to come out to your shows as a promoter. And the day and time, I knew if I did it the week of Thanksgiving, I probably would have had a harder time doing it. So, uh, but that was that, and I just wanted to say that, and I want to thank all the comedians who agreed to come. I had a guy coming all the way from Alexandria, which would have been 4 hours, and I was gonna have him come out for a one-person audience or three people audience. So, yeah, it was tough. So, what we're talking about tonight. Sorry. I'm feeling much better. Thank you, Boss Queen. Smash up the likes. Make sure y'all hit the. Thank you, Cece. Yeah. Uh, what we're talking about tonight, everybody knows what's the big thing going on is the Diddy versus Cassie situation. And for those that don't know, Cassie's attorneys on Friday had filed a 35-page lawsuit in federal court, United States District Court, Southern District of New York. This is a copy of the lawsuit. Matter of fact, I also had it in the description of the video so everybody can go and look at it if they want, but I'm going to share it here. So Cassie had filed a lawsuit where she names, she's Cassandra Ventura, that's her real name, hereby alleges as for a complaint against defendant Sean Combs, Mr. Combs, Bad Boy Entertainment, Bad Boy Records, Epic Records, Combs Enterprises, LLC, and Doe Corporations 1 through 10, together defendant corporations, and together with Mr. Combs, defendants as follows. So what we have to realize here is that Cassie, first and foremost, you look at this caption, and this is very important. She's the plaintiff, but Sean Combs is one of several defendants. There are at least, I want to say, counting Diddy, Bad Boy Entertainment, Bad Boy Records, Epic Records. You talking about, she says, Doe Corporations 1 through 10. So they're talking about corporations that aren't even named. They were all named about, let's just say 15 defendants at best, total, that she named in this suit. So this was not just about going after Sean Combs. She went at Sony Records. And why would you? Epic Records, of course, is owned by Sony. And I went through, I've read this, I listened to Jason Black even go over this. And I gave my opinions. If you listen to the show, you would hear, you probably know who I am. You probably listened to what I said. But they filed this in New York because I know Diddy is based out in New York. And in New York, you have something called the Adult Survivors Act. Now, what many of you may or may not know is that that very act, the Adult Survivors Act, was passed in 2021. And essentially, it is what I like to call a look-back statute. California has these laws as well, where if you file a lawsuit, if you are someone who was claiming sexual abuse and you're outside the statute of limitations, this, from the time that you are aware of it, let's say you are a minor, they have given you a 1-year period, at least, in which to file suit. And in fact, many people don't know, may or may not know this, but as a result of that law, which was passed in 2021, several people from Donald Trump, Russell Brand, and P. Diddy have been sued. But another individual has also been named in the suit. Can you guess who? Bill Cosby. Bill Cosby is now being accused of a new lawsuit under an expiring New York survivors law. That law, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, is set to expire after Thanksgiving. So, and Andrew Wyatt spoke about it, and haven't reached out to Andrew yet. But this woman is claiming, I'm going to get back to Diddy in a second, but Joan Tarshis came forward back in 2014. I remember Miss Tarshis, and she's a woman who claimed that Bill Cosby drugged and forced her to perform oral sex on him in 1969 or 1970, then drugged and raped her during another encounter a year or two later. So she claims she's being drugged and raped again. By the way, under this act too, he says Diddy, L.A. Reid, Steve Tyler, now they circle back to this. He says, when is it going to stop? Diddy, as you know, L.A. Reid is also being accused of rape by a woman who also said that she was raped by Russell Simmons, Miss Azaria Dixon. Now, I haven't looked too much into that, but I'm going to share that with you here. So L.A. Reid, the music executive who formed LaFace Reid, if she was drugged and raped, well, there's another question. Why are they going back? If it happened in 1969, 1970, the question we got to ask is, why did you go, ma'am? Because he said it happened twice. If it's once is enough, and let's be clear, and people are going to say, oh, you victim shaming. No, I'm using common sense. I'm using common sense with this stuff. I don't know too much about the L.A. Reid situation to comment, but he's being sued under this act again. By the way, if you look at the article courtesy of the Associated Press, which details this lawsuit is about to expire, they say that more than 2,500 lawsuits have been filed so far under the law, which created a year-long suspension of the usual time limit to sue over an alleged sexual assault. So this act came about in 2021, and you're talking about 2 years in that time period. There are precise counts for Adult Survivors Act filings have stated that there are at least 2,587 electronic filings in state courts, with some lawsuits filed on behalf of multiple people. They state that by the time the Child Victims Act's 2-year window closed in August of 2021, so that's a different act, the Child Victims Act, they said almost 11,000 people filed lawsuits involving the Roman Catholic Church. California also has a look-back statute. See, the problem with all of the things that we are talking about, especially when we talk about Child Survivors Act and Adult Survivors Act, this is not victim shaming. This is just common sense is how, if any way, shape, or form, if we have a constitution that states you're entitled to due process and under the 14th Amendment as well as the 5th Amendment. 14th deals with states, the 5th deals with the federal side of the game. But even under the 6th Amendment, you are also entitled to the right of a fair and speedy trial in a criminal case. But even in civil cases, we have statute of limitations for a reason. We have them in criminal court for a reason. And that is to not only to protect the rights of the victim, but also the accused in particular, but the accused in particular as well, but not just the accused, but the victim. How, as a defense attorney, can I defend someone accused of rape in 1950, over 70 years ago, and his accuser, I'm just calling what it is at this point. If the accuser is 85 years old and my client is 94, still alive, but elderly, I'm just throwing it out there. How do I defend that? There's no DNA evidence. Obviously, it's been so long. There's no hospital records, medical records to see if there's any DNA, any blood samples, any of that kind that ties into a crime. There's also no witnesses at this point. Let's just say if they are still alive, if they're in their 80s and 90s, is their memory still as sharp as a tack is the question. Do they have any mental defects at that point? We know that as we get older, our memories are not the same. Who I was at 18 is not who I am at 40. By the way, Tarshis had previously sued Bill Cosby in Massachusetts for defamation. That case was settled. So now, when it's outside the statute of limitations, she can file this lawsuit. And I was looking for an attorney who actually had Bill Cosby on his website, asking for women who were raped by Bill Cosby to come forward. I think it had a lot to do with this act. But getting back to Diddy and Cassie, I'm not trying to get off subject. And let's tie it to that. Cassie, who's a singer, that's her name when she's with Bad Boy, had been in a 10-year relationship with Diddy. And when you read the lawsuit, she states, like I mentioned all of those defendants, and that's important. I'm going to get back to that. But she states in all of this stuff, and if you listened earlier, I played the ABC News article, but she claims that he raped her in her own home when she tried to leave. He often beat her, including giving her a black eye, bruises, burst lips, blew up another man's car after he learned she was romantically interested in her, forced her to engage in sexual acts with male sex workers, ran out of his apartment with a firearm in pursuit of a rival industry executive who he learned was nearby, demanded that Miss Ventura carry his firearm in her purse just to make her uncomfortable and demonstrate how dangerous he is. Just looking at that, that's bullshit. That sounds like bullshit to me. And then introduced Miss Ventura to a lifestyle of excessive alcohol and substance abuse and required her to procure illicit prescriptions to satisfy his own addictions. So they're stating he's responsible for her substance abuse. Just for unless I'm looking at this because he introduced her to a lifestyle of excessive alcohol and substance abuse. That's what that means when I'm looking at that part. And then he's stating that he had to go get other illegal drugs without a prescription, obviously, to satisfy his own addictions. And he signs her to her label when she was 19 years old. He was 37. And they had an ostentatious, fast-paced, and drug-fueled lifestyle into a romantic relationship. Her boss, one of the most powerful men in the entertainment industry, and a visual and cruel, controlling man for nearly two decades, her senior. Now, the problem, so I mentioned the parties. They mentioned Diddy, of course, but the main thing to look at, ladies and gentlemen, is that she's got Epic Record. They got Epic Records. They have Bad Boy Entertainment and Bad Boy Records LLC with its principal place of business in New York. The jurisdiction they're alleging is in New York due to the fact that Diddy lives there. This is obviously where, well, he was living there. I know he has offices there, but Bad Boy is based out on the East Coast. It's a Delaware limited liability company with a principal place of business located in New York, New York. Epic Records is a New York-based record label owned by Sony Music Entertainment, and that the defendant was an employer of plaintiff within meaning of all applicable statutes. So they name all of these companies and corporations for a reason, ladies and gentlemen. At all relevant times, defendant no corporations were employers of plaintiff within the meaning of all applicable statutes. So what they are stating is that they are trying to hold all of the record labels accountable. Now, that's another thing. I'm wondering, did Cassie, and I guess she did she settle with these other defendants too? Because you can have multiple defendants in there, but they can also have different attorneys representing them. And I don't know if Diddy's lawyers, I doubt it, were representing Sony. But let's say they were. You, as a plaintiff's attorney, would want to mention these corporations for a reason, ladies and gentlemen, because those corporations have the money. Their insurance companies have the money. They don't name the insurance companies as the parties. Now, but it's safe to say, because they say Doe corporations that are affiliated and associated with defendant Combs and the defendant corporations. So I'm assuming that they were a part of that. Teenage Miss Ventura meets middle-aged Mr. Combs. Middle-aged. I'm 37. Shit. So Cassie was 19. He was 37. Now, Cassie is a 19-year-old, but by law, she's also an adult. Once you turn 18 years old, you can actually join the army. You can vote. At one point, you can smoke cigarettes at 18, but now you can purchase cigarettes at 18. They changed the law, I think, to 21 now. But they talk about how she promoted the album to get interest with Bad Boy Records. And he sought to rehabilitate his newly signed talent, telling MTV News you could hear the nervousness in her voice. And to be honest, I kind of smiled at it because it made me really appreciate what I really love about her. She's a regular person. It just made me appreciate that she got nervous. And it was kind of cute to me, to be honest. You've got to understand the success for her is coming out of nowhere. It's just so huge, and sometimes everybody handles it differently. While clearly paternalistic in noting that it was cute to him how regular Miss Ventura appeared, Mr. Combs' comments ranged true to some extent. Upon signing with Bad Boy Records, Miss Ventura was quickly thrust into the spotlight and was unfamiliar with how to navigate her new celebrity status. Wait, what? So millions of others. How many people get famous and struggle? Oh my God. So because she's nervous, they're trying to, but this is the language the attorney is trying to make for his client because he's trying to say he took advantage of her. Mr. Combs positioned himself as a father figure and protector of Miss Ventura. By the way, by way of example, after returning to New York after a trip to Las Vegas, during which she endured a brief hospital stay, Miss Ventura, who by then was fully healthy, went out to a club with her friends. When Mr. Combs saw her out, he reprimanded her, telling her to go home and take care of herself. At the time, Miss Ventura thought her record label was looking out for her well-being and that Mr. Combs had her best interest in mind. Mr. Combs, okay, that's part. You're part of his label. If you were sick or feeling bad, yeah, and you're not working, he's not making money. Yes, I would tell you to calm down, relax. You got stuff you got to do. Then they talk about a fact that at her birthday party at a hotel suite, Combs pulled her into a bathroom and forcibly kissed her without her consent. And she immediately ran out of the bathroom in the hotel suite and cried. She told her best friend at the time about what happened, but was too scared to tell anything. All that time, 10 years later, in a relationship with the man afterwards. They talk about he handed her the pill and told her to take this. Miss Ventura asked what the pill was, and Mr. Combs dismissed her and told her she was like, oh, that sounds familiar. Look, I can't read. I'm not going to read all of this stuff, but because I do have to run, and I'm gonna go through all of it probably at another time, maybe Thursday with Sean. But she wanted $100 million. So the attorney was Douglas Wigdor, Meredith Firetog, and Michael J. Willeming, excuse me. Michael J. Willeming, Douglas Wigdor, and Meredith A. Firetog. And now, Diddy quickly settled this. And just so you know, in this lawsuit, you'll learn a lot, including about Astroglide. But she was talking about how Diddy liked to get Astroglide, which is a loop. For those that don't know what that is, I learned this. That's Astroglide. Motherfucker had his own slip and slide. Okay. So even with all of that, I'm bringing all of this up. The reason why I went at this, I had to think. Now, someone asked how much did she get? She didn't get 100 million. I tell you that people are putting that on Twitter and Facebook. Oh, Cassie got the bag. Cassie got to settle the case for 100 million. No lawyer, if you settle a case, is going to settle for 100 million if you're demanding in your lawsuit 30 million. That don't make any sense. And in it, I didn't see a monetary amount, but my understanding from all of this in the background, according to Diddy's lawyers, is that Cassie wanted to, she approached him about writing a book. And threatening to do a tell-all book against him if he didn't pay $30 million. On top of that, Diddy denied it. He said no. And supposedly, Wigdor, who's a lawyer, Douglas Wigdor, said that's not true. Mr. Combs offered her 8 figures to silence her and prevent the filing of the lawsuit. She rejected his efforts and decided to give a voice to all women who suffer in silence. So 8 figures, let's think about that for a minute, ladies and gentlemen. That means he offered her millions of dollars to stop. She goes and files a lawsuit, and then the next day, not even 24 hours, when the ink is not even dry on the petition, she settles the case. Does that sound like a victim or a cash grab? Is that a victim or an extortionist? I don't know the terms and details of their relationship, and I'm not defending necessarily Diddy and saying he's a good guy, because he may not likely have done some of the things she has alleged. And that's honestly how I feel. I think Diddy probably did it because probably settled with her because he didn't want certain aspects of his life exposed to the public, which is why a lot of celebrities settle. And let me explain something about a settlement. A settlement is not an admission of guilt or a liability. Typically, lawyers will put that in when they sign before they give the check to the person. You sign a settlement agreement. Both parties sign it. They put their signatures on it, and there's a clause in there stating that the defendant is not admitting into any liability of any kind or any shape or form. I've done things like that before. I've had to settle several cases, sometimes with defendants, especially in breach of contract situations, where they settled the case to give this amount of money just because they do not want to proceed with any legal action on the case. They may have a family member. I had one client who had a very ill wife, and he would rather instead of devoting his time in court, he would rather help his wife who's dying of cancer and pay the plaintiff X amount of dollars just to make this go away. Because I'm not focused on you right now. My attention needs to be on my wife. Even with a criminal matter, what we don't call those settlements, there are plea deals that are reached. And people plead all the time. About 85% of criminal cases, misdemeanors are a little bit higher, but even felony cases, at least 80% or better don't go to trial. They get a plea deal. And that's because most people don't want to take the risk of going to trial, being taxed more years if they're convicted, depending on the crime that happened. And they also feel like if they've been in jail, let's just say already on 3 years, and they offer you a plea deal of 7 years, well, I can just eat up that time because I've been in jail for 3 years. I don't have to do all of the 10 years. I just do 80% of it or 75. Well, I'm already halfway there. That stuff happens. Now, if you're innocent and so forth, and you're facing jail time, and you're truly innocent, it's probably not wise to take a plea deal. But some people do it because they're just scared. They don't want to have to face many years in prison. But that's another thing. This is a lawsuit. Sean Diddy Combs has never, ever been indicted, charged. He certainly has not been convicted of any crime as of yet. These look-back laws, there's a 3-year look-back window. So in 2026 in California, for instance, there's a new survivors can file civil claims for sexual assault on January 1st, starting January 1st of this year and ending on December 31st in 2026. So for the next 3 years, anybody accusing someone of sexual assault in California, it's called a Sexual Abuse and Cover-Up Accountability Act. They can do that. And this is basically eliminating the statute of limitations. And the problem with that is that how many lawsuits you're going to get I just read to you how many they've had in New York. The court system is going to be tied up with people trying to get a cash grab, even if there are some who are legitimate. And I'm not attacking them. How do you defend that as a criminal defense lawyer or a civil lawyer if your client is facing a multi-million-dollar lawsuit from 40 years ago because some girl is saying that in high school you touched her titty? I grabbed your boobs and honked. You were 16, now you're going on 56. I'm supposed to defend that? I got to answer a multi-million-dollar lawsuit for that? I'm 90 years old. I'm 86, like Bill Cosby. 86 years old. I got to answer to this shit? And they keep filing lawsuits. When does it end? This gave these look back laws, ladies and gentlemen, these laws have given power, they haven't empowered women. No, this isn't empowering women. This is empowering greedy ass people to get money off, to get a bag. It's empowered people to lick, it's empowered people to look for a lick. Diddy probably just settled with that woman because he didn't want his stuff exposed. I'm not saying he didn't do some stuff. He may suck for a buck. I could probably so. I've been hearing stuff about Diddy. I've been hearing stuff about a lot of celebrities. They have these wild parties and stuff, but I don't know that. I don't live his life. And apparently she was a part of it for 10 years because she was on the red carpet with him. I don't think they have any children together. They have no kids together, but they had a relationship for 10 years. It didn't work out. She married this white man. So she stepped down. You know, you look at P. Diddy's net worth. P. Diddy's net worth, ladies and gentlemen, is an estimated $1 billion. They say that Jay-Z, I think, was the first hip-hop billionaire. Diddy, I think, had to have come close. Because Diddy was around before, Diddy was way before Jay-Z. But, you know, he got his start working with Uptown Records, Andre Harrell and all those people. And then he co-created Bad Boy Records as a subsidiary to Arista. Man, a lot of these artists, a lot of these people are always subsidiaries to a major company. You ever notice that? Just like I think Interscope Records, Death Row was a subsidiary of Interscope, if I'm not mistaken. And then Aftermath or somehow, you know, all of those are subsidiaries. Arista, that's Clive Davis. By the way, in Arista Records, and here's another thing, Arista Records, ladies and gentlemen, is owned by Sony Entertainment. Sony owns Epic. Well, Epic Records used to be Sony. And you know how we know Epic? Because Epic was the record label for Michael Jackson. Yeah, I remember when Diddy had Sean John, the clothing label. He also has the Revolt TV. Let's not mention also he has Ciroc. Which is the vodka. He makes about 60 million annually from that. So he's sitting on a gold mine. So he's very wealthy. and money just pours in for him. But yeah, I put this in the chat on my YouTube channel yesterday. I asked if there was if this was a cash grab or a shakedown, and I want to say, out of all of you, most of what I saw, most people that this was a shakedown. But I got to run out of here, ladies and gentlemen. I wasn't going to be too long when I said that. But please smash up the likes, hit that share and subscribe button. If you love this channel, if you like what I do, if you want to pay me for my time, then please drop something in the Cash App, PayPal, or Zelle. It's not a demand or request, but it's welcome. So we're going to wrap this thing up, y'all, because I got to get ready to go. But yeah, I had put this in the poll. 68% out of 25 votes say you think it was a shakedown, where 25 said 20% of you said breakdown, and 12% of you said don't really know. I could see that. Okay. Clay said somewhere in the middle. And like I said, yeah, it could be. Like I said, there may be some things true, but was she a victim or a willing participant? I just find, in my opinion, I think she was a willing participant to some of this stuff, and it just went south, which is why she decided to file suit. And these liberal states like New York and California, and even in Nevada, they're a lot, but in particular those two, they're allowed, they changed the statute of limitations on sexual assault as well. They are basically allowing and trying to get back palimony. And I'll just ask you all to look up Lee Marvin. Lee Marvin was an actor from the 1950s and 60s. He was an Oscar winner. He was known for the movie The Dirty Dozen, as well as Delta Force. He was actually the leader in that movie, not that starred Chuck Norris. But he got sued in the 70s for palimony. Now, Lee Marvin's been dead for over 36 years, but World War II veteran. But if you look up his case, Marvin versus Marvin, his girlfriend, Michelle Triola, filed a lawsuit against him after they broke up, adopting his last name, and claimed he had promised to support her for the rest of her life. The Supreme Court of California ruled that Triola had not proven the existence of a contract between herself and Marvin that gave her an interest in his property. Thus, the common law rule applied to the situation without alteration, and she took away from the relationship and the household which she brought to it. The court went on to explain that while the state abolished common law marriage in 1896, California law recognizes non-marital relationship contracts. There you go, California. And contracts may be expressed or implied, oral or written, but they must be provable in any case. The contract may also provide for a sexual relationship as long as it's not a contract for sexual services, prostitution. So what they basically stated is that Michelle and Lee never had a contract. She couldn't prove it at that. A lot of these women, yeah, they sue. Damn. So that's what this is about. This sounds like palimony to me, but you all let me know what y'all think in the chat. Thank you, Boss Queenie, Liddell Moore, Cece. It's good to see you. All right. I gotta go, guys. But y'all be safe. I love y'all. Be one, be blessed, be safe. I'm going to probably come on Wednesday or sometime since Thursday is Thanksgiving. But you all be safe, be blessed. I love y'all. I'll holla. Peace out, okay?